Welcome to Barbara's Bulletin, the podcast where we bring you the latest news and updates from around the world. I'm your host, Barbara, and I'm glad you're joining us today. We're starting off with a special story from the Vatican, where Pope Francis made a brief appearance on Easter Sunday, despite his ongoing recovery from a near-fatal bout of double pneumonia. The 88-year-old Pope didn't celebrate the Easter Mass in St. Peter's Square, but he did appear on the loggia balcony to bless the thousands of people gathered below. According to reports, Pope Francis met briefly with U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance earlier in the day, exchanging Easter greetings in a private encounter that lasted just a few minutes. The Vatican said the meeting was a chance for the two to wish each other well on the holiday. Pope Francis has been recovering from his illness since returning to the Vatican on March 23rd, and this was one of his first public appearances since then. His appearance on Easter Sunday was seen as a significant moment, especially given the importance of the holiday in the Christian faith. The Pope's message, which was read by Archbishop Diego Ravelli, called for peace in various parts of the world, including Ukraine, Gaza, and Congo. He also appealed for the liberation of prisoners of war and political prisoners. It's worth noting that Pope Francis has been scaling back his workload as he follows doctors' orders to rest and recover. However, his appearance on Easter Sunday suggests that he is committed to continuing his duties as the leader of the Catholic Church, even if it means taking things a bit slower. We'll continue to follow this story and bring you updates as more information becomes available. In the meantime, we want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on Pope Francis's appearance on Easter Sunday? Share your comments with us on social media using the hashtag #Barbara'sBulletin. We'll be right back with more of today's top news on Barbara's Bulletin. Welcome back to Barbara's Bulletin. We're glad you're still with us as we dive into our middle segment. Today we're discussing a developing story that's making waves in the world of international diplomacy. A draft proposal from the Trump administration has been leaked, outlining a radical reshaping of the U.S. State Department. According to reports, the plan would reorganize the department into 4 regional bureaus covering the Indo-Pacific, Latin America, the Middle East, and Eurasia. Additionally, an unspecified number of non-essential embassies and consulates in sub-Saharan Africa would be shuttered. The proposal also suggests a significant reduction in staff, with diplomats being assigned to regions for their entire careers, rather than rotating around the world. The plan has been met with skepticism from some quarters, with concerns about the potential impact on U.S. diplomatic efforts and relationships with other countries. Some have also raised questions about the rationale behind the proposed changes, and whether they align with the country's long-term strategic interests. On the other hand, proponents of the plan argue that it could help streamline the department's operations and make it more efficient. They also suggest that the changes could allow for a more focused approach to diplomacy, with resources being allocated more effectively to key regions and priorities. It's worth noting that the proposal is still in its draft form, and it's unclear whether all of its provisions will be implemented. The Trump administration has been known to float controversial ideas and then scale them back, or abandon them altogether. As we continue to follow this story, we'll be keeping a close eye on how it develops and what implications it may have for U.S. diplomacy and international relations. We'll also be seeking out diverse perspectives and insights from experts and stakeholders to help our listeners better understand the potential consequences of these proposed changes. For now, it's clear that this is a complex and multifaceted issue, with both potential benefits and drawbacks. As always, we'll strive to provide you with balanced and nuanced coverage, without taking sides or promoting any particular agenda. Stay tuned for our final story of the day, right here on Barbara's Bulletin. Welcome back to Barbara's Bulletin. As we wrap up today's show, I'd like to bring you a story that's been unfolding in Eastern Europe, where tensions between Ukraine and Russia continue to escalate. According to recent reports, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has accused Russia of breaking a proposed Easter truce, with multiple drone attacks and artillery strikes reported along the front lines. The truce, which was intended to last for at least 30 days after Easter, was seen as a potential opportunity for diplomacy to take hold. However, it appears that the ceasefire has been short-lived, with both sides trading blame for its collapse. Russia's defense ministry claims that Ukraine has broken the ceasefire over 1,000 times, resulting in damage to infrastructure and civilian casualties. Meanwhile, Ukrainian officials argue that Russia has failed to uphold its commitments under the agreement. The situation is further complicated by international diplomatic efforts, with the United States playing a key role in attempts to broker a peace settlement. U.S. President Donald Trump has expressed frustration with the lack of progress, suggesting that he may be willing to walk away from negotiations if a deal cannot be reached. It's worth noting that there are concerns about the potential terms of any agreement, with some reports suggesting that the U.S. may be pushing for a deal that would recognize Russian control over Crimea and other Ukrainian territories. This has raised eyebrows among European leaders, who are wary of any arrangement that might be seen as rewarding Russian aggression. As we consider this complex and evolving situation, it's essential to approach the topic with nuance and balance. While it's clear that both sides have made mistakes and miscalculations, it's also important to recognize the deep-seated historical and cultural factors that are driving these tensions. Ultimately, a lasting resolution to the conflict will require a sustained commitment to diplomacy, dialogue, and compromise. As we watch events unfold in Ukraine and Russia, let's remember the importance of staying informed, critically evaluating the information we receive, and promoting constructive engagement on these critical issues. That's all for today's Barber's Bulletin. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, stay engaged.